Hey now everyone, Matt Haywood here from the Star Wars Time Show. We're going to try something new today. We're going to break down the new Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer live using moving images instead of the static stills that I usually do, which means it's probably going to suck and no one will watch it anyways, so let's just get on with it. Let's break this thing down. So I will alert you, there's probably going to be some spoilers in here. I do know some insights into Obi-Wan Kenobi by reading various leaks and whatnot, so this breakdown is going to delve deep into the leaks and what we're seeing in this trailer. So just a warning there, I still don't think it's going to ruin your experience, but that is up to you. So let's go ahead and get this thing started, and maybe we'll get the channel banned from having live Lucasfilm footage running with music. Alright, so let's just play this bad boy here. Ooh, sand. Alright, so up first, what we're seeing here, I think this is a transport ship probably taking Obi-Wan to the planet Daiyu, which we learned about, a month or so ago. It's a new planet, kind of like a Shanghai, Vegas type of deal with all those neon lights. But I don't think this is an Inquisitor ship. I think this is Kenobi heading there to rescue a young princess. I guess I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, that's why Kenobi is going to be leaving Tatooine. Someone asked him to go on a rescue mission of someone kind of important in the Star Wars universe. Alright, so what we're getting there, we get a nice little "they're coming" from Obi-Wan, which I think is probably dialogue he'll be speaking to Nari the Jedi, who we've learned is played by Benny Safdie. So through another leak, Nari shows up on Tatooine and eventually runs into Kenobi. He's like, "I know you," and Kenobi's like, "No, you don't. We need to hide." Yada yada yada. But more on that in other breakdowns. But what we're seeing here, this just seems to be a reverse angle of the fifth brother walking through the streets of Daiyu with like a platoon of stormtroopers. Here's a nice new shot of the Inquisitors showing up on Tatooine. More than likely in search of that Jedi Nari I just talked about. While we're here, it's also been rumored that Reva can sort of sense a bigger fish on Tatooine, and that would be Kenobi, but the Grand Inquisitor, played by Rupert Friend, doesn't believe her, as well as the fifth brother, played by Sun Kang. They kind of antagonize her. Not that we get this in this trailer, but just giving you a little background. But this is where they show up on Tatooine to kind of shake down the denizens, brutalize them and terrorize them, which doesn't bode well for Owen Lars and his appreciation of having a Jedi in Obi-Wan on the planet protecting Luke. Stay hidden. Again, talking to Nari, probably. So these are just all continuation shots of the Inquisitors coming to Tatooine. I don't know if this is Mos Eisley or another Mos, like Mos Def, but you can see that the citizens aren't too thrilled, and there is an interrogation going on. Because like I said, the Inquisitors have tracked a new Jedi here in Nari, or Nari, who knows, N-A-R-I. But this is where things get a little rough for the denizens here. And Owen witnesses it. We could see him in a few of these shots. And it's kind of what leads to this conversation coming up between him and Obi-Wan. These are shots we saw in the last trailer. No big deal. He's just peeping Tom on young Luke there. Right there. Leave us alone. So you can tell Owen does not think having Obi-Wan as a Luke Skywalker protector is a good idea, and he kind of gives us insights why. Not only is it probably related to the Inquisitors showing up and chopping up people's hands and legs, but because of this line right here, after Obi-Wan says, "Well, I've got to train him at some point," to which Owen replies, "Ooh, sick burn, Owen, like you trained his father." And, Obi-Wan knew he lost that battle. That look was like, oh, man, he got me there. And, yeah, Obi-Wan, you got, no doubt about it. So here, this is Reva, the third Inquisitor, showing up, or the third sister, sorry, showing up on what more than likely Fortress Inquisitorius, and it looks like we're going to get a lot of action in this Obi-Wan Kenobi series at this location, because later on there seems to be a battle that breaks out in this hangar. So you can see the Inquisitor ship, some TIE fighters, as well as an Imperial shuttle over there. So here, they're in this is like the Inquisitor hangout room, their meeting room, strategy room, whatever you want to say. You can see the fifth brother and Reva. And then we have that sister. We still don't know her name. Is she the first sister? Who knows? That's one of the Inquisitors not accounted for. So we don't know quite yet who that could be. But you heard a line from the fifth brother saying, you still want Kenobi. Like I said, it seems like him and Reva are going to have a kind of an antagonistic type of relationship with her search and desire to find Kenobi. And I'm starting to wonder if Kenobi may have had a hand in her Jedi upbringing. Is that the reason why she has such a passion and drive to find Kenobi, even though her other Inquisitors don't believe he can be found? See, he's gone. So this is an interesting shot. Clearly, that's the fortress again, and we're seeing these three ships come out of it. And as it leads into the next shot, it's the same shot we saw from the teaser trailer when I first speculated these could be escape pods, potentially housing Kenobi and a young princess. And while that may still be true, because I have a feeling that Kenobi's going to make his way to the fortress for some sort of mission that also involves this young princess. Maybe this is how they escape, or maybe these are just one-personed, manned Inquisitor fighters. So I think it could kind of be either one of those speculations. It could be Kenobi and whoever he came to rescue making their final escape from the fortress, or it could just be the Inquisitors going out to kick some Jedi butt. So, if you've been paying attention to the voiceovers, Reva is kind of responding to the fifth brother, saying, "I don't know. How do you know he's gone? Maybe you're just not looking in the right places." As we go to Daiyu, and I didn't realize this in the first trailer, but what she's watching, if you look closely when I restart the video, she's actually watching the shootout happen on the rooftops that we're going to see more of here in a few more seconds. So you can see the action going on there. Check that out. We might have to reverse that a little bit. So first off, we get Kenobi in the Imperial database. You know, his mugshot hasn't been updated since Revenge of the Sith. But more importantly, one of the leaks gets paid off on right there with Forlom showing up in live action for the first time since Return of the Jedi. And no, he's not just standing there. I love that his green eyes are lit up and that he's got two guns ablazing. And if you notice Reva's line there, she says, "Hey, I want all lowlifes and bounty hunters to squeeze him." And by squeeze him, she's probably talking about Obi-Wan. And that's more than likely why Forlom is here, which was a leak we've discussed on the Star Wars Time Show. If you want to check it out, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we've got links to follow down in the description. But with that line, I'm now open to some more speculation on other bounty hunters showing up. I know some fans have sworn that they saw Cad Bane's silhouette in a new image from Total Film, and at first I poo-pooed it, but now with that line, it's fair game. I mean, I thought the Inquisitors would kind of take on the Obi-Wan hunt, but it seems like they are going to, just like Darth Vader did in Empire, utilize some lowlifes and bounty hunters to help flush him out. So, Forlom, there's a good chance he is not going to be the only iconic bounty hunter featured in this series now. So here you got Kenobi, again, probably on this same planet, Daiyu, getting into a fight with some lowlifes, and one of them happens to be a male Zabrak, the same species as Darth Maul. But luckily, even without his lightsaber, which I think is going to be key, where is that lightsaber? Obi-Wan is able to pull out his MMA skills. Here's a cool shot too. So, like I said, something major is going on at Fortress Inquisitorius at some part in this series. More than likely, another rescue attempt by Obi-Wan to save his initial target, the young princess. But what's important here is you can see Reva, of course, but you're getting a look at some live-action Purge troopers, which have not been featured. And while the shots pulled out, we really can't zoom in on them. They do look to have different styled helmets than we saw in Jedi Fallen Order. So yeah, there's going to be some sort of battle going on in the hangar at the fortress. This is a very intriguing scene here because to me, this is early on. He's not wearing that blue tunic yet, which seems to be the garb that he's going to use to leave planet, or maybe that's what he uses on planet, and this is what he changes into to leave. Although I'd argue wearing something like this and you're trying to hide yourself as a Jedi doesn't seem like a good idea. But either way, this is on a desert planet. Has to be Tatooine. That's what I think. But you can see him, and there's an Imperial probe droid down back there. There's a dead stormtrooper. He's shooting at something. So does the Empire end up finding Kenobi on Tatooine at some point in time, or is this another planet? And when does this happen? I'm guessing this is probably early on, or maybe as he's about to go on his adventure. But like I said, this one kind of shocked me a bit. I didn't think the Empire would be getting into a fight with Kenobi on Tatooine itself. I could be mistaken, but it seems kind of Tatooine-ish to me. There's that droid again, which last time I was like, hey, maybe this is Kumail Nanjiani's character. Well, that's been kind of put to bed. I'll show you here in a few more seconds. But the droid is definitely on the side of the good guys. Maybe it belongs to some of the resistance cells that may be popping up around the galaxy. But we know it's fighting for the forces of good because you can see it kick a few stormtroopers here in its efforts to protect someone, probably on the good side. Okay, this is another very interesting scene, and it could just be trickery, but this is clearly taking place in the fortress hangar that we saw earlier. But what is curious to me, it seems like Reva is deflecting red blaster bolts, which could imply that she may be turning here and maybe doing something to help Kenobi at the expense of her own life. We talked about this on the Star Wars Time show, how we're going to get a pretty heavy arc for Reva. We're going to see why she's doing what she did, how she has force powers, and ultimately how she may end up helping Kenobi at the expense of her life. And I'm just going to go out on a limb and say this is the moment. She might be finally turning on the Empire here, fighting in the Inquisitor or Fortress Inquisitorius hangar to help spring Kenobi and whoever else came with him to free what I'm thinking could be a young princess. But I don't know, it just seems like she is deflecting shots. Oh, let's go back there. This right there, that is Kumail's character. I know he looks kind of Jedi-ish, but like I said, rumor has it that Benny Safdie is the one playing Nari, and I don't think Kumail is going to be another new Jedi, but more than likely some sort of scoundrel type of ally that Kenobi is going to run into to help him on his adventures, and he's probably tied to some sort of early resistance or rebellion type of movements. That right there, my friends, we talked about just yesterday on the Star Wars Time show. It was another rumor/leak. That could very well be a young princess's hands, I'll just leave it at that, in the companion droid, the cute factor that we were talking about that has been infused into the Kenobi series to try to have its own little Grogu movement. And yeah, this is a tiny little personal protection droid for a young princess. This is another one. At first I was like, is that Kenobi running with a red lightsaber? But then I kind of saw a cape moving. And I think this is the end of that moment. So more than likely, Kenobi just escaped death on Daiyu. He's leaving. Reva's talking shit to him. You can't, what does she say here? I forget. I had it written down. Let me pull up my notes as it's coming into your view right there. She says, you can't win, Obi-Wan. You can't escape him. More than likely talking about Vader. But I think that dialogue does show that Obi-Wan and Reva are going to be talking even during their tense interactions. And that is what may lead to her end up helping Kenobi in the end. Behind her, it also looks like a rebel troop transport shuttle. I know at this point in the timeline, that's not what it would be called, but that's what it does look like. All right. And here we go. There's our boy getting put together. You got to love it. I mean, just think about the pain and suffering this guy goes through on a daily basis, getting all his limbs reattached by robots like he is a Formula One racing car in a garage. But I love this. More Fortress Inquisitorius. Big location in this series, clearly. And this, again, I think that this is just a continuation of the hangar scene. You can see the Purge Troopers with their new helmets, Stormtroopers. You can see Reva there. They're definitely confronting something. But if you go back to what I just said earlier, she is facing the other way in that shot and seemingly deflecting red blaster bolts. So is this her turn? Is this her moment to help Kenobi and maybe cross back into the light? I think so. Hey there, Space Jesus. You gotta love that guy. Ewan for president. This is another fantastic thing. I guess, I never knew exactly what went into Vader's Under Armour. And here you can see it. It's like he's almost wearing a bodysuit that goes over his burnt flesh. And I guess I never realized that the panel has prongs on it that physically get inserted into his body. So it's like he's getting stabbed by four nails into his stomach just to stay alive. I mean, no wonder the dude's so angry all the time. But you gotta love this moment here. Very similar to Vader's awakening in Revenge of the Sith. You kind of get the same sound, like that beep. It's almost what camera flashes used to sound like when you actually had to prime a flash. And then you get that breath. And the trailer ends with us looking at Kenobi. He's kneeling down, seemingly meditating. Definitely in much more Jedi-like garb. And it's almost like he can sense Vader. So I'm not sure if this is some of the leaked moments where we know he's on a transport ship and Vader and some stormtroopers find him and they chase him off and injure him a bit. But he's clearly deep in thought. Maybe this is even him awakening from a flashback, thinking about his time with Anakin/Vader. But there's definitely a look of concern and worry. So who knows? When we see this play out in the series, Vader could sneak up on him right here and kind of get the party started. Woo! So that is it. What a trailer, my friends. I like these short little ones. I think they're perfect. They don't show off too much. And unless you're a jerk like me and spoil things for yourself, you really couldn't truly determine what was going on here. So hopefully you enjoyed what I did right here. We do it all the time for these little Star Wars drops. So make sure if you aren't following the channel, go ahead and give it a sub down below. Please like and comment and share with like-minded individuals. Don't forget, if you enjoy all things Star Wars, there's always time for Star Wars Time, so make sure to tune into the Star Wars Time show, which has a weekly live stream on Tuesdays, as well as a recorded version on podcast platforms, which are linked below down in the description. If you do listen to the Star Wars Time show, my friends, the Force will be with you, always.